What's up, y'all? This your girl Jay Renee with Prison Ride Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This afternoon, we got a brother on the phone by the name of Antoine Faulkner. He is a part of the Behind the Wall Mentors, okay? You've heard about them before, heard about some brothers from that. Well, this is another brother. He's a part of that collective. So we're going to holler at him about, what's going on with that and what's going on with him. We're going to jump right into it. All right, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, sis. And yourself, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you. One day at a time. Definitely appreciate you being able to pull up on us to talk about what you got going on. So,
good.
I
appreciate you giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump right in there. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and where you from.
All right. Well, you already know my name, Antoine Faulkner. I was born in Baltimore City, 1981. I grew up like the normal teenager, like sports, chasing females, school was a problem for me. I didn't value education, so I acted out in class a lot. So I didn't get to give myself an opportunity to be able to properly develop mentally. And so I kind of shortchanged myself in that regard. So I grew up with both of my parents in the house. So both of my parents were hard-working people, went to work every day, kept a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food in my mouth, did their best. I got siblings, brothers and sisters, so I stayed in trouble a lot. And by me not listening to them and being hard-headed, I started making poor decisions. I stopped listening to them, and I started listening to my negative peers. And growing up in Baltimore City, you see positive things, but you also see a lot of negative things. And me as a preteen, I didn't have the ability to be able to communicate the things that I was seeing and going through. And so my first traumatic experience was seeing an older teenager shoot and kill another older teenager. And I can just vividly remember staring at that teenager's body with his head open and not being able to comprehend what I was seeing. And so as I grew up and got older, not getting the therapy and treatment that I needed and the support from my community, and systematic things that's put in place for our community to fail, I started to see in my mind that was a reasonable way to solve problems. And so gun violence wasn't a bad thing to me. It was a thing that I thought could be a good option to solve a problem if I ever had one. So that led me down the road of wrong thinking. So using guns solve my problems. Say again?
I said I can understand that.
Okay. So using guns to solve my problem became an option for me. And once you start to read and you start to study and learn, you realize that that's the only option that if you pick it, you get rid of every other option you have. And you have so many other options besides picking up a gun to solve your problems. That is the only option that when you pick it, the outcome always leads down a path. Either you come into prison for the rest of your life, or till you're an old person, or you go into the graveyard. There's no other outcome when you pick that gun up. And the other options that I had were options that I couldn't have utilized had I been made aware of them. And so that's one of the responsibilities of being a mentor, is to teach younger people that they have other options outside of picking that gun up. Because that's not really an option. It shouldn't be an option, and it's definitely not a good option.
For sure on that. How long when did you get incarcerated? Like, how old were you the first time you was incarcerated?
The first time I actually got incarcerated was for this job one, so I was 20 years old. So unlike a lot of my homeboys, I didn't go through, as they call it, the rite of passage. I wasn't constantly going into juvenile halls and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that actually led me to believe that I was actually doing something right, or I was good at something I was doing,
Right.
which was totally wrong thinking.
Right, for sure. So how did you connect with the Behind the Walls mentors?
It's a big brother that started the program. His name is Sean Gardner. And we was all sitting around in a rec hall one day, and the brother just started asking us questions like, you ever think about your purpose? Like, what's your purpose? And we all started laughing like he was joking, but the brother was serious. The brother was asking us what are our purpose? Like, do you want to die in prison? Like, do you want to be a drug dealer forever? Like, what's your purpose? And so a lot of brothers couldn't answer the question, and a lot of us had to go back and think. Mm-hmm. And some of us came to the right conclusion that our purpose was wrong. So we started to listen to the brother, and ever since then, we've been going down the right path.
For sure. So how did you, sometimes people can just be going through life and not really be aware of their circumstances or their surroundings or what's important. So, like, what made you realize that being a mentor to the younger ones is something that's important?
What made me really realize it was the fact that as I started to get older in prison, and I started realizing that that gate wasn't just going to magically open. I was going to do some hard time, and I had already been doing a lot of time. I realized that the younger guys who were coming in, they didn't have a clue, just like I didn't, as to I didn't have a clue as to what I wanted out of life, and the fact that I had options. I didn't have to always think that I had to use violence to solve problems. That was the biggest thing. And so once I became aware of that, I felt it was my obligation to teach other younger people and some of my peers, because you got a lot of older people who think immaturely as well, that violence isn't a viable way to solve your problems. Mm-hmm. There's so many other ways besides violence to solve problems that gives you better results. And so once I learned and understood that that was the only way I could build a future for myself, for the things that I wanted started to change. I no longer wanted to be stuck in a cage, growing old and dying in prison. I wanted a future. I wanted a family. I wanted a children. I wanted a house. I wanted peace. I wanted happiness. So once I understood that, I knew that I had to teach some younger people that they had an option, and that violence don't lead you to happiness. Violence leads you to suffering.
That's for sure. So let me ask you, what are some of the things that you hope that your mentorship can, do to fix our community and the things that's going on in it?
Well, one thing I know for a fact that mentorship works, because I've seen guys change. I've seen gang members start to reform and lead gangs. I've seen different things from guys who mentor younger brothers and sisters out in society and as well as in prison. And a lot of young people, including myself, at the time, you don't realize that you have options. So you think your only option is to use a gun, or you think your only option is violence. And that's not.
For sure.
Teach you those young, to teach you understanding is listening. You have to listen.
That's definitely for sure. It got you going in and out, bro. You there?
Okay, I'm here.
All right, we got you back. Um,
Okay.
so what are some of your aspirations for the future?
I definitely would like for our program to be sent into different juvenile facilities. Right now, we're trying to get them into the Maryland facilities, but our goal is to get them to all juvenile facilities in all 50 states. So we already did one magazine already
Right.
called Incarcerated Youth. So we're trying to get the next one now called Financial Literacy. So
Right. Just beautiful. Some beautiful things going on in the mix. So how can people get in contact with you, bro, if they want to reach out to you?
um, you can contact me through b2wmentors@gmail.com, or you can go to authorseangardner.net.
Okay. I always give people an opportunity to drop some gems on the listeners and the people, and I would like to extend that courtesy to you. So, feel free to drop some gems or some knowledge on us. The floor is yours.
Okay. First of all, uh, it's a blessing to be able to come out of the mindset that I was once in. And it took hard work, and it took a lot of men and women to get me where I am today. But I still had to make that choice. So one thing I say to younger people listening is you have to ask questions. And I know sometimes it's hard to ask questions because you don't want to be judged, or you feel like the person is just going to tear into you and start telling you what to do and what not to do. So, like I told she's 13, I told my great niece, I said, if you got a question that you need to ask an older family member, a woman or older male in a family, what you do is you pose the question as if you're asking for a friend. It's always ways to get answers. So you don't have to say it's you. You can say you're asking for a friend. My friend is thinking about doing this, or my friend is considering this, or my friend don't know what she should do in this situation. And you can get the answers that you're looking for without feeling like you're being judged. But you have to get options. And the only way to get options is to ask questions, and you have to listen. And I always say, think about it as if you're playing a video game. If you're playing a video game and somebody's trying to teach you how to win and you losing, and they telling you block or jump or duck or pick this play or pick that play, if you don't listen to them, you continue to lose. But the minute you start listening to them, you start winning. So it's the same thing with life. You have to listen and you have to ask questions. Life was not designed for you to figure it out on your own. And being a black man or woman or boy and girl in this country, the system was designed for us not to get an equal shake. And I'm not saying every white person you meet is racist. What I'm saying to you is the system that we born into is designed for us not to get a fair shake. So that being the case, you need all the help you can get. You need all the options you can get. And the worst thing you can do when trying to solve a problem is to try to solve it on your own. And you got help around you. And it's always somebody you can talk to. Even if you don't want to ask as if it's yourself. Ask as if you're asking for somebody else, just to get a different perspective. But don't never think you're alone, because you're not alone. And you can't figure it out alone. You need older people who've been through stuff, even if it's just a couple years older than you. I remember growing up and being in a situation where I thought I had the answer. My answer was wrong, but I thought I had the answer. When an older person just a couple years older than me said, all you had to do was this, or all you had to do was that. The advice they gave you was right. Mm-hmm. So don't never rob yourself of the opportunity of winning in a situation. And the way you win is by asking questions and by listening.